Kingsley, I was just struck talking to Gabriel and hearing him now about that notion about the sea divided Gael, you know, the difference between the diaspora who you've worked amongst and the actual island of Ireland. Is it as stark as perhaps Gabriel suggested?
You know, I'm glad it's brought up because I think we have to be quite careful about it and be aware of it. I remember when I started working in the United States in 1999, Dan Rooney's brother, Pat, who owns a dog track down in Florida, a wonderfully colourful character, took me aside and he said, "Where were you born?" And I said, "I was born in Ireland." He said, "Where were you brought up?" I was brought up in Ireland. He said, "Well, you're an FBI." And I said, "Pat, what's an FBI?" And he said, "An FBI is a foreign-born Irishman. Real Irishmen are born in the Bronx, they're born in the South Boston, they're born in Chicago." It was a great lesson for me, terrific lesson for me. It's something we need to understand, that they're actually quite different animals. An Irish person born and educated here who goes overseas and achieves success is really quite different from somebody whose grandparents were Irish. So I think in a way, we want to get to a stage where people say, "And I'm Irish." In other words, they're primarily American or Brazilian or Chinese or whatever, but they add on to that, "And I'm Irish." And I think that "And I'm Irish" piece is really the most exciting thing. And I think what this Gateway project is really, if you like, the missing piece of the jigsaw that we now need, because there is, in fact, through this, a glittering prize out there. And the glittering prize, I think, is that Ireland can become the best in the world in this space, in this diaspora strategies space. So I think there's a concept of diaspora direct investment as a subset of foreign direct investment. And if you begin to pare away some of the deals that have been done in the last 25 years in Ireland, some of the great projects that have come in here, you'll find that there's an Irish angle in there. And I think one of the great challenges for us in the future, and one of the opportunities that this project will bring about, is that we can identify, I call them the tipping agents, the people all around the place who have some connection, some interest, some desire to be engaged and involved with Ireland. And I actually, Kieran McLaughlin, who's head of the Ireland Funds, is here, and we actually laugh. We call these people DCPs. A DCP is a deep closet paddy. Deep down, these people have some Irish ancestry and Irish heritage, and we have an opportunity to unlock that. Well, and we've never had the technology to do it before. There's 10 million Irish Americans under the age of 18. Many of them will not be entitled to an Irish passport, so I think that's an area we could look at in giving them some form of connection and ancestral link to Ireland. India introduced a passport a couple of years ago called the OCI, Overseas Citizen of India. 500,000 people around the world have taken out that passport. It looks like a regular passport. When you arrive in New Delhi airport, there's a special area for you. You're allowed to do things that the rest of us can't do in India, like buy property, buy shares. And suddenly, global Indianness is increased by 500,000 people. And we can do stuff like that. At the other end of the demographic spectrum, 10,000 Americans are hitting 60 every day. There's a phenomenal array of people in their third act of their life who I believe their number one interest is travel. And their number one interest is travel with meaning, with substance. They don't want to go and lie on the beach in Spain. Ireland has such an amount to offer those people. So some real opportunities demographically.
In terms of your work now as a consultant with Diaspora, is social networking something that you're watching developing? I know that, for example, my wife's uncle just talks by Facebook, and he's, whatever, 85.
Yeah, I have a son who told me the other night he's got 400 friends, and I asked him, how many of them have you met? He said, I haven't met any of them, but I've got 400 friends. So that's the world that that generation lives in, and we have to be part of it. But I do think it's not an either-or situation. I don't think we've any choice but to be part of all of that. But it goes back to what is our core value and characteristic as a people. I think we're just terrific connectors. And I've seen it living in Australia, living in the United States, and I've seen the way the Irish come together. Let me tell you a little story. There's a guy called Murphy in Amgen, which is a genetics company in the West Coast. And he said, there's 30 Irish people with master's degrees in Amgen. I know them all. They're really terrific people. We network all the time. He said there were 300 actually English people in Amgen. They don't connect at all. It's just something in our DNA, our glue, that makes us want to connect.